the message that if you are African American, and if you run for office, and if you honestly win the election, you will be punished. The governor, the Secretary of State are trying to intimidate and suppress the African American vote, since they know if the 400,000 registered African Americans in the state of Georgia that did not vote in the last election cycle come out and exercise a right that people have died for, the right to vote. If the African American community and all people of color exercise their constitutional right to vote, it will mean the demise of this white privileged aristocracy here in Georgia. That is not American. That is not worthy of the state of Georgia. This prosecution is a travesty. The prosecutors, the Secretary of State, the governor should be called out on what they have done to these women and called to publicly apologize for the 4 years that they have put them under this scrutiny and this character assassination. So that's it.
Once again, we must thank Shaveen King. We must also thank Nancy Dennard for doing an outstanding job all the way. The NAACP has been here all the way. This is, of course, Lula Smart. All that she has been through, she violated no law. And if they had not stood their grounds, if they had plea bargained, we wouldn't have had this day. This case just may set a precedent here in Georgia and in the United States of America. This is a very high day, and we just hope that some conclusion can come to the other people that have been charged in what we believe was either a conspiracy or retaliation for Black African Americans dominating the Brooks County School Board of Education. This is the mother right here. And we want to thank, oh my God, God bless you. God bless you. God bless you. God bless you. That's Diane Thomas. She wanted to quit with 10 plus 2.
That's what I'm saying.
We're so thankful. So thankful. How you doing today? What do you want to say about it?
Oh, I just thank God. Thank God for this day that we've been waiting on for 4 years. I just thank God that justice was done.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
It hurts me. My county commissioners, Mr. S.O. Jones, Mr. Joe Wingate, and Mr. Howard Lawson find nothing wrong with this. They find nothing wrong with this. How much can one community endure to have the right to have our votes cast and counted for who we want to represent us?
The witnesses lied on the stand.
Yes.
The Georgia Bureau of Investigation lied on the stand.
That's right. Yes.
Falsified documents.
That's right. Yes.
The Secretary of State lied on the stand.
Yes.
Boone from the post office, who started this whole mess, lied on the stand.
Yes.
All to try to make these citizens look guilty.
This is the Ghetto Free Press, and I'm George Boston Rhines, and I just received the breaking news that we have a new mayor in Quitman, Georgia. Much like the Quitman 10+2, Nancy Dennard being the first president of the Brooks County Board of Education, and now we have James Brown III, the first Black African-American mayor of Quitman, Georgia. First of all, we acknowledge that black does not make it right, but right always make it right. We must understand that the Quitman 10+2 brought Brooks County the first black majority in the history of that county. And as you know, the Quitman 10+2 was brought up on charges of alleged voter fraud, and after nearly 3 years, only one have had their day in court, and it ended up a mistrial. With all that has happened, with all of the complaints, with the elections in the past and identified problems at a particular meeting on July the 17th, 2012, highlighted major problems with the Brooks County Board of Elections, yet Secretary of State Brian P. Kemp were informed through formal complaint forms, given a DVD, among other detailed problems. And until this date, the people of Brooks County are still awaiting a response from Georgia Secretary of State and Glenn Austin, who was an investigator that came down from Macon at the bequest of the Secretary of State, yet nothing has been done. Moreover, the meeting was a total whiteout, and very little to nothing was done. This is the Ghetto Free Press, keeping you informed, because it is in time. It is indeed time that the people in South Georgia know the truth. To James Brown III, thank you to all your family that came down from New York and other places to congratulate you on your victory. As a graduate of Washington Street High School myself, from Brooks County, I say to you, as the Muslims say, Alhamdulillah. And to the Jews, I just say shalom to you. And as the Christians, I say peace and blessings be upon you and to all the great worthies that help you in your campaign.
The witnesses lied on the stand.
Yes, yes, yes.
The Georgia Bureau of Investigation lied on the stand.
Yes.
That's right.
Yes.
falsified documents.
That's right.
Yes.
The Secretary of State lied on the stand.
Sure did.
Yes. Yes.
Moon from the post office, who started this whole mess, lied on the stand,
Sure did.
Yes.
all to try to make these citizens look guilty.
Greetings. I'm George Boston Rhines once again with the Get To Free Press. I just did a video on behalf of Governor candidate Stacey Abrams and Secretary of State Brian P. Kemp, along with the American people. The video I just did a few minutes ago, live here at Serenity Church, I had people that called me and told me that there was no voice on the video. So I'm redoing it. This is the power people have, I say, over these technical gadgets. Yeah, this is the control, but this particular video, if you're listening and if you can hear me, just hit me up and tell me that you can hear the sound. But if not, I have my camera running in the background and I will put that one up in a few hours. I do this because I understand the wickedness even of YouTube and Facebook. You see, they play game with us. There was complaints here in VALDOSTA, Lowndes County with the election process, and some of those videos they put on Facebook, they took them down. So now enough on that. Let me redo, and I'll do it better this time than I did it the first time, hopefully, and maybe you can hear it. Today in the Valdosta Daily Times, the headlines read, Kemp campaign declares victory. I want to commend you, Stacey Abrams, a beautiful black woman. Thank you for running a great campaign against an unfair Secretary of State, Brian P. Kemp, and his all-white State Board of Elections board. I have attended several of his meetings in Macon, and I'm telling you, he is a very unfair person. We have it documented, and I'm going to walk you through some of what I have covered since 2010. We have the record. 21 December 2010, I was called to a place called Quitman, Georgia, in Brooks County. Secretary of State Brian P. Kemp office and his investigators, along with the Georgia Bureau of Investigation, charged 10 outstanding black citizens of voter fraud. Many were federal charges on little simple charges like assisting a woman to walk a ballot from her chair out to the mailbox. The initial start of this chaos and bogus charges started with a postal clerk by the name of John Boone, who claimed that he saw one of them
dropping off ballots. And he took information from the post office and gave it to a private investigator. And we eventually notified the U.S. Postmaster General, who gave him a letter of reprimand. The clerk who works in the Board of Election took ballots home with her, had her granddaughter to work on the ballots, and nothing was done to her. Nothing. Other words, those ballots were took home, which means that she could have got her friends to do whatever to those ballots, but nothing was done to her. And these 10 people that they took guns to these people's houses, went on these people's job. You can see all this on YouTube channel, Boston G.B.R. We have it documented. Then later they went back and arrested 2 other people, and that's how they get the name of the Quitman 10+2. Now, they went and got the best citizens in the community. Now, I want you to know that we knew from Jump Street that it was a game being played. But I'm not going to get into the finer details. Just Google the Quitman 10+2 for the rest of the story. Then I was called to Madison, Florida. And there was a group of people over there caught up on the same bogus charges in another state. It has nothing to do with Secretary of State, I don't guess. But they brought them up on charges, and most of those were bogus charges too. And you can see that when you Google the Madison, Florida name. Then I was called to a place called MEIGS, Georgia, with Linda Harris. They got rid of her. The police chief was against her. The Thomas County Sheriff was against her. The newspaper, the Thomas Enterprise, was against her. Miss Murphy, who was a reporter, we saw and proved on a video that she lied repeatedly on that black woman until they ran her out of office. Then we were called to a place called Camilla, Georgia, with Rufus Davis. And the mayor before him, they ran out of office. She was the first black mayor of that little small town, right above Thomasville, Georgia. Then I was called to another place called Lumpkin, Georgia, with Charles Gibson and the clerk, Naya Williams. This mayor was called a nigger by a sitting council member. And it was published in the newspaper, but she never missed a beat. No action was taken against her. This was during Secretary of State Brian P. Kemp's tenure. This means that the history on Secretary Brian P. Kemp speaks for itself. And while I'm at it, let's go back to Quitman, because the stress that Secretary of State Brian P. Kemp, his investigators, and the Georgia Bureau of Investigation brought up against these people, Latasha Head died before a not guilty verdict was rendered. I talked to the father, and he believed that the stress and pressure contributed to her death, and she was a lupus patient. Linda Harris had to go into the hospital. Her mother had to go into the hospital. Her 2 sons Her two sons, her two brothers. Her two brothers was given 2 criminal trespass for nothing. You can see it on my YouTube channel. Wait a minute. Haven't finished yet. So, going back to Lumpkin, Charles Gibson was called a nigger. Naya, an overqualified clerk, was removed from the position by accusation from the local law enforcement. So, Stacey Abrams, we commend you for standing up to this wicked, historically proven, no good Secretary of State, based upon the facts that you have, I have, these communities have, and the Atlanta Journal and Constitution, WSB, 60 Minutes, 48 Hours, Dateline, and Your Line refused to publish. They will not connect the dots. Rachel Maddow from MSNBC, she said something a few weeks ago. I sent them video. They said something a few weeks about the Quitman 10+2. But what about connecting the dots? This is a disgrace in the United States of America. I can understand it if this was Afghanistan, Pakistan, or Tajikistan, or North Korea, or even South Korea, or Russia, or China. But no, this is where we stand, that these impediments are put against black people who came to these shores through their ancestors' lineage in the year 1555 aboard a slave ship called Jesus, captained by one Sir John Hawkins, a slave trader. And after all these years in South America, we still don't have a right to vote. And this is why I'm saying Governor Deal, Stacey Abrams, President Trump, no black man has any right going into the armed forces when he don't have a right to vote, can't get justice in the judicial system. Wait a minute, let me continue. Then I was called to a place called Douglas, Georgia, with Christopher Wright, mayor, the youngest black mayor in the history of the state of Georgia. Shot 6 times, left in his yard for dead, under, not Muammar Gaddafi, not under Fidel Castro or Putin of Russia, but under Secretary of State Brian P. Kemp. He was shot 6 times, left in his yard for dead. I didn't say Secretary of State did it, but I'm saying this was during his tenure. And his neighbor came over and he survived. The local NAACP representative, all you have to do, all these cities, is to Google those cities and George, Boston, and see how I have interviewed people in these communities, and you can hear them talk. You don't have to believe and say whether I'm lying or telling the truth. Just cast me to the side. Deal with people who gave their live interviews about the hellhole that this state has thrust upon black voters and newly elected black elected officials across the state of Georgia. Yet, 60 Minutes don't consider that to be newsworthy. 48 Hours don't see that as newsworthy. Apparently, OWN and Oprah Winfrey don't care about voting rights when it comes down to all of this. Tyler Perry, where are you? Al Sharpton of MSNBC, where are you? You, Mr. President Barack Obama, we sent this information to you. I worked with Representative Tyrone Brooks, the late Senator Robert Brown, Senator David Lucas from Macon, Helen Butler, Jesse Jackson, representative in Atlanta, National Action Network. We worked with all of you, but did you connect the dots from all these places that now Stacey Abrams are crying out about unfair voting practices? If maybe you had contacted me, or better yet, the people that are in pain, suffering, some are in jail, some are in prison, but you didn't say nothing. You just said and did nothing. Now, I know the NAACP have filed some legal documents and all that kind of jazz, but why didn't you come in AACP, SCLC, Congressional Black Caucus, to these areas that we sent you the literature, we sent you the video, so you would see real live people talking about how their voting rights was being suppressed? Nobody said nothing. No news media in the United States of America until this day have went to Madison, Florida 9 and connected the dots, and to Quitman 10+2 and connected the dots, to MEIGS, Georgia with Linda Harris and connected the dots, to Camilla with Rufus Davis and connected the dots, to Dawson, Georgia with former Mayor Christopher Wright and connected the dots that was shot 6 times and left in his yard for dead. And later found out through the court system that the white city manager paid and put a hit on him at the cost of $5,000, and since they didn't kill him but wounded him, then they gave him $1,000. This came out in the court case, according to the local NAACP there. Hear him speak on the video in Dawson, Georgia. I think his name is Holly, President Holly in Dawson, Georgia. It's not me speaking this, y'all. But your white-owned, white-controlled news media, they won't connect the dots, man. Wait a minute, I haven't finished yet. Then while I was in Dawson, Georgia, I was called to a place called Gordon with Mayor Marianne Whipperloo. Man, the way they treated her is a disgrace, and no black man should join the armed forces until they straighten this out. If you Google Gordon, Georgia video, you will see me crying out with a loud voice, where is Governor Deal? Where is Secretary of State Brian P. Kemp? Where is the Georgia Attorney General Sam Olens? Sam Olens was in there that time. We see him video. We see him all of this stuff, man. We even sent videos again to Eric Holder, the Department of Justice, to President Barack Obama, because we felt the pain of most of these black women. But what did they do, man? I don't know where Stacey Abrams were. And the Democratic chair, DuBose Porter, personally, and I say this with all respect and humility, personally, DuBose Porter needs to resign from the Democratic Party. And I believe they will accept him very gladly into the Republican Party. I watched him the other night as he introduced Stacey Abrams. I watched his mannerism. If you can ignore all of this, Mr. Porter, you knew about what Marianne Whipperloo was going through, because the newspaper, the Wilkinson County Post that you sit on as executive manager and editor, if not owner, and down her in every paper, and you just sat there, Mr. DuBose Porter, and you didn't say nothing. Georgia right people, they took her to court so many times it wasn't funny. She had to get her own attorney out of Atlanta because the city attorney wouldn't even do nothing for her. This white conspiracy must be busted up. Because when we go in the battlefield and when we go to war and when we join the armed force, we be right out there, take training with white folk, willing to die with white folk, sit there and protect white folks on the battlefield, and we would give our life to protect them, but they would not stand up with black folk when black folk want the right to vote, when black folk want the right to hold public office, when black folk want to remain in office just like their white counterparts. And you think we gonna be quiet? I could care less about the other scared to death Negroes and veterans who just sit, say, and do nothing. But you took an oath during the Vietnam War, as I did, that I will defend this nation against foreign and domestic enemies. I am prepared to give my life in the defense of my nation. But your nation will not let you vote, will not let you hold public office after you are elected. And the news media in this country will not even tell your story. The finance chair talked about they had $1.5 million missing that he could not account for, and he was the finance chair. Terry Reese was his name. And do you not know that they tried their best to get rid of Mayor Whipperloo, number one, She was the first black mayor. She was the first black female mayor in the history of that city. And she was the first female mayor, period, black or white. And they didn't say nothing, Miss Stacey Abrams. So, Stacey, I want to commend you for having the courage, my beautiful sister, to stand up. But I must, out of great love and humility, ask you this question. Where was you when I was sending all this information out to the Democratic parties across the nation, even to some Republicans, because I said to some people that if the Democratic Party will not stand up for black folks, then this is an ideal time for Republicans to stand up. I did that because that's the pain of these mostly black women across the state of Georgia, and nobody said nothing. Stacey Abrams. But I commend you today. Wait a minute, I haven't finished yet. From Gordon, Georgia, I was called to a place called Clayton County, Georgia. And that individual who's running for state position stood before Secretary of State Brian P. Kemp at one of his meetings. I had my cameras rolling, so all you have to do is Google Clayton County and voter suppression, voter intimidation, and you will see what I'm talking about. I don't have to lie. I'm not a lying man. I'm a free man and proud of white folk. I love the founding fathers of this great republic that put this country together. Yeah, I love them. I respect them because God inspired them to write freedom, justice, and equality for all men, although they didn't mean the black descendants of slaves that came to these shores in the year of 1555 aboard a slave ship called Jesus, captained by one Sir John Hawkins, a slave trader. Not only did they go after Mary Ann Whippaloo, they went after her sister, a wicked white person, white lady. The editor of the Wilkinson County Post is a disgrace. And do you not know that those white people and one Uncle Tom, or Aunt James, I guess, Uncle Tom, they awarded a woman, the white lady, the editor of the Wilkinson, $45,000. Her case, no charge was ever filed in court. They just gave her $45,000 of taxpayers' money. I called and sent requests to Secretary of State along with others. We even sent, I didn't, but they did. They even sent about 65 to 7 complaints to the judicial qualification about what was going on there in Gordon. Do you know what they said? Nothing. Now, let's move on. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm sorry. Let's go to Warrenton. I was called to Warrenton. I didn't know nothing about all these places. I was called to Warrenton with George Ivey. Them white folk took that man through hell and the monkey beast, man. And guess what? No news media. No 60 Minutes. No 48 Hours. No Dateline. No Oprah. No Tyler Perry. No President Barack Obama. No Eric Holder. No Atlanta Journal-Constitution. No New York Times. Not a one of them. It seemed like they would connect the dots. All those places that I've called, nobody connected the dots but me. And they called me crazy for doing it. Yet, they want your sons and daughters to go fight the wars of this nation. Somewhere, somebody got to stand up. Got to stand up for our children and coming generations. Because yesterday, somebody stood up for you. Then from Clayton County to Gordon to Warrenton, coming on back to Sparta and Hancock County, where they removed all the blacks off the board of elections. These people call me too because people watch my YouTube channel now. Yes, people watch my YouTube channel. And when you see a video that I put up got 10 views, don't believe that. In fact, I had a coalition of my family members I got some videos of only 53 seconds. And, not 53 seconds, yeah, 53 seconds. And I wanted them to watch these videos and see if the number of views count changed. We did it to the tune of 20 apiece. The number never changed. They don't want you to know that people are listening to and watching social media because the white dominated, the white control, and white owned newspapers don't want the truth to be told because they know that if the truth is told, then you will become free, and then you'll start killing each other, and you'll start respecting each other, and you'll start loving each other, and you'll start embracing each other, and then you'll start standing up for each other. They know this, so they don't want you to know the truth. Now, I do have 1,400,000 views around the world, at least 1,500,000 views or more around the world on my channel. But if you Google my name, you will see that my videos is on a lot of the sex channels, and I didn't put them there. And they are scattered all over other people's videos. In fact, some of those sites got more of my videos than YouTube have. They don't even receive those counts when people review them. They don't want you to know that. And they think we are stupid. Just like a few minutes ago, the video I'm cutting now, I cut it a few minutes ago after I posted it up. People started hitting me and told me they couldn't hear it. Wasn't no sound to it. I said, that's okay. I'll redo it. And I think this one's going to be better than the other one. And just in case this one don't have, just in case this video don't have sound to it, I went in the car and got my Sony camcorder. I'm recording it up here. That's what you got to do to you wicked white folks today. And Uncle Tom's and Aunt Jane black folk. This is what we got to do, because we got to understand that these people that go to church, these people that go to mosque, these people that go to synagogue, these people who go to all these places, just remember, too many of them, not all of them, from the bishop on down to the priest, from the priest to the pope, here's what happened. They imitate Jesus, they placate Muhammad, and all this. But they don't do nothing he say when it comes down to standing up for the least among you. St. Luke 4:18 says that the Spirit of the Lord is Jesus. For the Spirit of the Lord is upon me, because he has anointed me to preach the gospel, to put a covenant of sight to the blind, to preach the Sabbath year of the Lord, to recover the sight to the blind, and go out and fight for those who are in need. And so if all you can do is stand in your church and talk hallelujah, 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 you ain't no good to your people, man. You're no good to this nation. In fact, you're a disgrace to this nation, if not the world. Dr. King perhaps said it best, because he said, if a man live in this world don't have something he's willing to die for, he's unfit to live. So in Sparta and Hancock County, veteran people met with me. We sat, we dialogued, and they told me how they removed all them black folks from the board and then shut up all the voting places as an impediment to suppress the black vote. I'm talking about in Sparta. Let's go move to Davisboro, Georgia. In Davisboro, Georgia, those black councilmen were scared as hell. Yeah, you were scared. Them black folk they called me several times, but they were scared as hell. That's with a triple L. About a white police chief. They was afraid of him. So they wouldn't consent to an interview, but they told me the hellhole that they had to live in over there in Davisboro, Georgia. I left Davisboro. Then I was called to another place called Telfair County. People over there too was called in under Secretary of State Brian P. Kemp, all white election board, and the sheriff Christopher Stevenson, Chris Stevenson in Telfair County, spoke in Macon. I got him on video. Talk about how a Secretary of State came in that city, had unqualified investigators. And he said they were the worst investigators he had ever seen, and he had worked for higher levels in government at the federal level. And he said it was a disgrace what he did to some of the best citizens. He didn't say black. He said the best citizens in his county. I have it documented. I went back and talked to Chris Stevens. I thought and found him to be a pretty righteous and just white person. And I haven't changed until this day, but I see that he's voting, he is supporting Secretary of State Brian P. Kemp. Brother Chris, Sheriff, I ain't got nothing against you, man, but I'm speaking the truth. That's what I saw on Facebook. And don't take my word for it, Facebook watchers and the world and news media outlets who gonna watch this video. I got it recorded on video and it's posted on Telfair County Voter Rights Problems with Sheriff Chris Stevenson. I don't lie on people. Don't have to. I love and respect the Jesus y'all play with. And you be in church more than me because I go to church, I can't stand it. No, I can't stand church. Liars. Liars. Masquerading as servants of Allah. Servants of the son of Amram and Yoshabel Moses and Jesus. How can you say you love Jesus who you've never seen? And you see all these black folk every day, mostly black women. You sorry black men just say and do nothing talking about you love Jesus. The hell you do. I can say that. The hell you do. I know I can't. When I saw Mary Ann Whipaloo going against all them white folks and one Uncle Tom, what is my job as a black man who understands where I came from? Y'all excuse me for raising my voice. I respect you too much to raise my voice. So let's leave Sparta and Hancock County, and let's go to what I did. I already hit Telfair County, Willacoochee, Georgia. The white candidate for mayor, that it's been a good while back, but we got it recorded on video. They called the news media outlets to come cover their event. No news media showed up, not a one. But I was there. You know why I was there? Because as a human being, and as a black man that respects the white founding fathers of this great republic, who talks about the right to vote, freedom of the press, the right to bear arms, etc., I'm going to stand up for that on the freedom of the press. See, your news media should not be the best news media that money can buy by those in the clique and among the slicks. Do you understand? This white candidate for mayor in Willacoochee, Georgia, was paying black people to vote for him. Driving a state representative car to go around and campaign. Now wait a minute. Don't y'all blame me for that. I might be lying. Yeah. Don't blame me. I might be lying. But you can hear people that live in the community saying this on camera. Among many other things there in Willacoochee, Georgia. Here again, this is under Secretary of State Brian P. Kemp, and when we sent up complaints, they sent complaints up to him, he didn't even respond to them. Didn't send no investigator down there for that. You think I'm finished yet? No, I ain't finished yet. Let's move on around to Broxton, Georgia. The NAACP president, Mr. Presley, talked about Broxton, Georgia. You know you're supposed to have an annual audit every year. 10 years had passed, according to the clerk that sat at the desk. You don't have to take my word for it. All you have to Google Broxton, Georgia, and listen to the white lady tell the story. And she was tired of it. Then Mr. Presley talked about the district attorney, Samsop, and Judge Andrew Spivey not rendering justice in the case of Olivia Coley Pearson. I'm going to get to her in a minute. And so nobody accounted for that money. And the NAACP president told me, he said, you know what? They won't even file charges against that individual. Now, so let's leave that. Like I said, Google all these places. How could it be? Today we hear Stacey Abrams, we heard Oprah Winfrey, we've heard the Vice President under President Barack Obama, we have heard Al Sharpton, we have heard the heavyweights come out and talk about voting rights, voter suppression, and all these things. But when I was bringing all this up through all of these communities, and even until this day, do you not know, not one news media have connected the dots? All they would have had to do to see if I was lying or not, or to see if these people who were sending them all these requests to come help them in Madison, Florida, the Madison, Florida 9, with Tina and those, from there to Brooks County with the Quitman 10+2, they could have connected the dots. Let's look at that. Let's look at Quitman. Let's look at MEIGS. Let's look at Lumpkin. Let's look at Dawson. Let's look at Warrenton. Let's look at Clayton County. Let's look at Gordon. Let's look at Sparta and Hancock County. Let's look at Davisboro. Let's look at Willacoochee. Let's look at Telfair County. Let's look at Broxton, Georgia. And then now let's look at Davisboro, Georgia. Not Davisboro, Douglas, Georgia, with Olivia Coley Pearson. Her first trial on voter fraud charges, like all this other stuff. Voter fraud, her first trial was a mistrial. Her second trial, no, she didn't have a second trial. Yeah, her second trial, she won it outright. They moved her court case from Coffee County to Jessup. And I'm telling you, they denied me, they didn't want me in the courtroom at all. Twice they denied me the right to be in the courtroom because, see, these white folks do what they want behind closed doors. And I'm going to ask you all another question. When you go in the courtroom, don't you see the cameras up in the ceiling? Try requesting a copy of that video under the Open Records Act and see what they tell you. We know, we've done it. They don't want you to know what's going on in the courtroom. And they tell you, we got freedom of the press and we are a free democratic society. Liars. Liars. You may get in and you may not. I show this badge. Sometimes they let me in, sometimes they don't. And I've been all the way up to the Georgia State of Appeals and recorded in that courtroom. I'm telling you, man, these wicked white folks just as bad today as it was yesterday. And what make them worse today is that you got these silly-ass black folk who join them in their crooked mess and then sit and think I'm going to embrace them in the black community. They are hypocrites, and we need to call them out. In fact, we started a list called the Uncle Tom and Aunt Jane list. And if you know somebody that need to be added to that list, Google the group out of Chicago. They are starting. I love it. I love what they're doing. They're calling these Negroes out who've been sitting for 20 years and ain't never come in the black community and dress up. In fact, when you sit with them, they'll run from you. So let's leave. Let's talk a little bit more. Now, with Olivia Coley Pearson, you will see that Douglas Now is a newspaper up there in Douglas. You got to see what they did to Olivia Coley Pearson, just like the Thomasville Enterprise did to Linda Harris. Y'all need to see this, man. And ask yourself a question. If America is really free, why is it that a little social media guy like myself can go through and find all these impediments to voting rights, but yet your mainstream, national, state, and local newspapers will not connect the dots? like I have done. Why is it? Unless they are devils themselves. Devils. So, Olivia Coley Pierce, my beautiful sister, is one thing about you, my beautiful sister. I want to commend you outright. And Mary Ann Whippaloo in Gordon, I commend you. Mayor George Ivey, I commend you. Christopher Wright as a white sheriff, I commend you for how you stood up as Secretary of State Brian P. Kemp's office and told him the truth, how sorry his investigators were. I say, look at that sheriff speak. And he's a white man. It gave me hope, let me know all white folks is not in the circle of Satan and his imps. You see, don't get me wrong now. I got white people right here in VALDOSTA, my best friends. In fact, some of these white folk will stand with me when a Negro wouldn't even go out, when some Negro wouldn't even go to the outhouse with me at night, with an environment full of lions, tigers, and bears. Y'all excuse me. And so, I want to commend the late Mayor, Christopher Wright. He did some things that he should not do, and if you go to Dawson, Georgia, you will see him for yourself. I ain't cut no slack on him when he did his wrong. But the truth speaks for itself. Former Mayor Charles Gibson, Nia Williams, commend you for standing up. A lot of Negroes won't stand up. Going on around to Lumpkin, Georgia, I just say to you again, my brother Charles, I thank you for the service that you did. Sorry that the clerk had to call you a nigger, because she called you a nigger because deep down she know why she called you a nigger. She knows that the word nigger in ancient Egypt meant a very spiritual being. It meant almost like God in Egypt. And so they call you a nigger because they know the greatness of how important you are in your dark-skinned house. That's the true definition of a nigger. And they don't want you to know the real meaning of a nigger. If you really knew what nigger meant, you would say to yourself, call me nigger, as I walk with the God of creation. And in your spare time, read Psalm 68:31, which says, princes shall come out of Egypt, and Ethiopia shall soon stretch forth her hand unto God. And when you run references on that scripture, it will run you right into the birth of Jesus Christ of Nazareth. Ye shall know the truth, for the truth shall set and make you free. The Quitman 10+2, I commend all of you. Now, I got a couple more and I'm going to quit. Y'all, this is a short list. There are other people in Augusta. There are other people, Stacey Abrams, in Athens, that were going in that area going through the same stuff. I met at a meeting in Douglas, and those people came down. I'm not talking about them today. I'll talk about them another time. So Stacey Abrams, stay the course, baby. You're dealing with a very wicked person here. And what I don't understand is how white folk can know all of this that I have placed and published on YouTube, and they still supporting that man. I can understand how black folk can listen to all of this. And I'm saying to the world, I'm saying to Jesus, I'm saying to God, I'm saying to Moses, and to his son, I'm saying to all of them, if you can disapprove me, don't go typing them down as comment section of this video. Don't type your negative stuff about me down there. Just call me and I will come, or we'll meet in a neutral place with the camera rolling, so I can prove to you with the coalition of these people who want to talk to the news media, but the news media ain't worth a dime. It's just good for those in the clique and among the slick. Let's move on to Homerville, Georgia. To Homerville, Georgia, wherein a city councilman is serving on city council He has a homestead exemption in Florida. He got a homestead exemption here in VALDOSTA, Lyles County, where I reside. And he holding public office in Homerville, Georgia. And he don't even live there, don't even have a domicile there. And the attorney put his stamp of approval on it. Yet I was in the courtroom with Dr. Rhonda Cross Scott, who they convicted, took to jail and prison for less than that. Because she was outspoken like Mary Ann Whippaloo and like Commissioner Olivia Coley Pearson. You see, they don't want you to stand up, man. But if you're one who scratch where you don't itch, they will love you, man. You'll be their friends, man. When you go out to eat, they're like, "How you doing?" Pat y'all on the shoulder. I remember years ago, I had the chief of police to pat me on my shoulder. The chief may be watching this. No white person pat me on my shoulder. See, my grandmama prepared me for life. When white people pat you on your shoulder, you need to know why they pat you on your shoulder. I know why. Only because my grandmother told me. I was about 7 years old when she told us about it. So when a white person, whenever you see a black man, and them white folk pat him on his shoulder, listen now, listen. When you see a black man, let me go on, y'all. So in Homerville, Witherspoon is serving, don't even have a homestead exemption. Bobby Worthy, Justice League United, and the legal person for the new Black Panther Party. You'll see him on a video when he said y'all trying to railroad this man. Not Witherspoon, the black guy who they were playing game with at that Board of Election meeting. And you have to see these videos, y'all, because I've done the homework. So in closing, you who joined the channel earlier, you know I was doing a live video. There was no sound to it. I said, oh, well, that's okay. I'll let it pass. Then I got to thinking, you know you're dealing with these devils, man. These wicked black and white devils. So get your camera and do it over. I'm glad I did it over. And I'm glad you all are tuned in. I see your names. And I want to know I appreciate all of you. But I got my camera over here. I'm recording this one, so if this don't have no volume to it, don't y'all worry about it. I'll put this up on YouTube. In fact, I'm going to start this method when I go live, when I give messages such as this. I'm going to have my camera rolling. You see, a lot of times you put up a video and Facebook will take it down. Yeah, they'll take it down. And when y'all, I said this on the other one, I almost forgot. When you all go to my YouTube channel, and you see a video that got 10 views, don't think that those are the only views. Those are the only views that white folks want you to see. Let me tell you something. White folk, if they're righteous, they are excluded from the comment I'm about to make. But if they are white and wicked, there's no hope for them. And check this. If you're black and wicked, you're worse than a white man that is wicked. If you're black or can't be trusted. So let me finish with this. Stacey Abrams, stay the course. Help me connect the dots on Secretary of State Brian P. Kemp. Because you see, the news media seems like they in his back pocket. Or vice versa. Because I'm asking you again before I close. What is wrong with MSNBC, ABC, CBS, 60 Minutes, 48 Hours, Dateline, Oprah Winfrey, Tyler Perry, Eric Holder, President Barack Obama, Donald Trump, President Trump, the Congressional Black Caucus, the NAACP, the SCLC, the Women's Group. What's wrong with all of these organizations if they really cared about voting rights? Why don't you call some of your contacts? Jesse? Minister Louis Farrakhan? Can't let you loose, Farrakhan. I respect you. But you got a big audience, Minister Louis Farrakhan. Why haven't the final call connected the dots? From Madison, Florida, to Quitman 10+2, to MEIGS Mayor former Mayor Linda Harris, to Mayor Rufus Davis and the mayor before him, to Lumpkin, Charles Gibson, Naya, the clerk, to Douglas, Christopher Wright, shot 6 times, left in his yard for dead, Clayton County voting rights problem, Warrenton, Georgia, Gordon, Georgia, Sandersboro, Georgia, Telfair County, Willacoochee, Georgia, Broxton, Georgia, Douglas, Georgia, Homerville, Georgia, and others up in the Athens and Augusta area. Why is it, Stacey Abrams, that the Democratic chair, DuBose Porter, have not connected the dots? And how can we trust the Atlanta Journal and Constitution when they fail, just sit, say, and do nothing, and the few articles that you publish exclude the real problems in the black community? Y'all have a nice day. May God bless you. But I ain't just talking about God. I'm talking about us. We got to become blessings to one another. Stacey Abrams, I commend you, my beautiful sister. VALDOSTA Daily Times, Kemp campaigns declares victory. I also heard it this morning that you are in federal court, Stacey, about Kemp's situation. He should have stepped down, and he's the one going to oversee the count. And we know that he don't give a damn about the black vote. He proved that in Brooks County Quitman 10+2. Let me say one other thing. Do you know that? Let me say that his head investigator, his name is Glenn Archie. Glenn Archie came to Brooks County to a public meeting. And when he came to this meeting, I was busy. Somebody called me and said, Ryan, get over here. It's only 18 miles away. I jumped in my car, set my camera, and I got it all recorded. It's on Quitman 10+2U website. See, each one of these places I call for you, there's something called a playlist on Boston G.B.R. on YouTube. And let me show you how slick these white folks are. They used to have more of my videos up. Now they only go back 5 months. Most of the video with Olivia Coley Pearson can't be found no more, because I was talking about Brian P. Kemp. That's my opinion now. But if you go to the playlist, you will see them way back in back of the back, and you can see them all. But let me tell you something, because I don't trust white people, wicked white people. If you ever see a video, and if you see they take it down, because I don't trust them, it don't really matter, because I got a backup. I got a backup to every video I publish, because I learned years ago, you can't trust these people. And as I told you about the count, that the count is not accurate, watch this. When you watch a video, see if the count changed. And if the count does not change, listen to me close, before y'all hang up. I know y'all please got to go to work. But listen to this. When you watch, go to one of them little short videos. I don't want to take 30 minutes. Some of my videos are quite long because I want you to have the truth. But go to one that maybe 53 seconds or 1 minute or 2 minutes. And I want you to look. When you finish watching, you can wait 30 minutes and come back and see if the number changed. Then that lets you know that if they cannot count your view on my YouTube channel, then just maybe when you vote, your vote just maybe, your vote is not counted in the same way. Or maybe your vote for Stacey Abrams went to somebody else. Because anything that man program and create or set up an event, he can control it. Let me say this, y'all excuse me, I love you so much until I just don't know. I just love giving the truth because I don't play games with you. But watch this. I'm going to ask you a question. If they say to you, you didn't vote in the last election, this election here, for the governor, and they tell you you didn't vote, what proof do you have to show that you was ever at your polling precinct? I'm serious. What do you have to show? What do you have to show? I'm retired military. And some black folks are so scared until they won't stand up for nothing. But may I tell you, if they call me, George Boston Line, if they call me and say, Ryan, you didn't vote, we have no record of it. You never even cast a vote. I say, you're a liar of the first order. When I walked in there and when I signed on that little half sheet to verify my ID, I said, I got to have a copy of that. I got a copy of it. You know why I got a copy of it? Because I don't trust these wicked-ass white folk. I don't trust them. It may not do no good, but just in case. Now, who did you get that from, Brother Ryan? My grandmother had a 3rd grade education. She said when you buy something that didn't cost but a penny piece of bubble gum, because I've seen black folk go to jail. I'm talking about back in her day. Not to mention the lynchings that she told me about. She said, get a receipt. And I've learned. Don't play games with Brother Ryan. My children are too precious. And your children, whether you stand up for them or not, are too precious to me than to just sit, say, and do nothing. I'm disappointed in Eric Holder of the Department of Justice. I'm disappointed in the Congressional Black Caucus. I'm disappointed in all news media networks. President Barack Obama, I'm disappointed in you too. And got enough power and love for you and respect for you to say it. Because we sent all this to you. And you didn't say nothing. I'm going to say it again, Mr. Barack Obama. You didn't say nothing. But even more disgraceful is the current chairman of the Georgia Democratic Party, DuBose Porter. DuBose Porter, I'm going to continue to say it, man, until you change your ways, man. I watch you there in Gordon, how you, over that paper, and the venom that you, and the lies that you allowed Judith Bailey to get away with, and you didn't say and do nothing about it. Y'all have a nice day. Stacey Abrams. What got me this morning, I looked at today's VALDOSTA Daily Times, and I had to cut this because you love us enough to run and to seek office, and so why should I not stand up for you, my beautiful sister? Black or white. You know I've helped a lot of white folks too. There was a black lady here in the Lowndes County Jail. They knocked all her teeth out. I stood with her. I'm working with another white guy now, Charles Judge, who got a lawsuit against what he says a very wealthy white person here, and I'm helping him. And you're going to know about that pretty soon. I'm posting videos now about the prison system. These two individuals dealing with the unjust justice system when it comes down to our black children. I'm publishing that too. And I'll probably be somewhere in mid-Georgia or tomorrow doing what I do with another person who got some problems. And y'all have a nice day. May God bless you. May heaven smile upon you. And to everybody that's watching, have a nice day. And hit me up when you see I come on if you like. And if you don't, it's all good. Because heaven and earth going to pass away. But God's word and truth will stand forever with or without you. Peace be unto you.